Yo, JD here, Limitless, and we are back on F1 2019 once again. And we are back with trying to set the world record around the track series. And today we are doing France, probably one of the personal favourite tracks of mine. Last time I did it was in September, didn't run a setup or anything at all. And I don't think there's been anyone recently who's actually done it. I don't know if they've made the time trial stricter or something's changed or something at all, although I think the top time is actually quite recent. That's a lie, but yeah, it seems whenever going to a time trial, particularly modern cars, it seems to be way stricter than normal. So but yeah, anyway, jumping into this as always, going with the default setup, and yeah, just to get used to the track, just used to this feeling. Haven't been around here for quite a while now. Last league race was definitely a good couple months ago around this track, so yeah, just getting familiar with it again, going into this turn one, and as usual getting the standard invalidation, which I promise you I'm not doing on purpose. It just purely just get used to this. Default feels very different to when you're actually using a real setup or anything at all. But yeah, as I said, feeling pretty good about this one. Was really optimistic. Got quite a few world records on most attempts so far. So yeah, this one I wasn't looking to just beat it. I was looking to beat it by quite a reasonable distance, looking at that time and stuff as well. So yeah, so far just getting used to this, the braking points. I don't really elect to go off the track going to a left-hand chicane. It's, as I said before, I like to try and do these laps as clean as possible. Four wheels or at least two wheels on the track, that's fine, but to try and not abuse the limits as much as possible, try and do it relatively as clean. And I know going into the bottom corner just before or just as you finish the first sector, you can really go out wide through that right hander before going onto the little middle main straight of the corner, which I'll probably be telling you as I do it on the next lap here. But yeah, you can really kind of abuse those limits a little bit. It's quite weird, the track limits on this game, where it's kind of, if you go slightly out wide, it will penalise you, but if you go super out wide, it won't do anything. It's quite bizarre, and hopefully it's something that can get fixed in the future games here. So not a particularly great first lap, but not invalidating here, and almost fixing the car. But yeah, my strategy typically in these kind of scenarios, or when I'm trying to set a really good lap, is to just jump in with default and then just do a very good lap with default, as we're just invalidating that again. So but that's the corner I'm talking about on the exit, or going out wide the right there before going on to that middle straight. That's what I'm really talking about. But yeah, to jump in with default, feel comfortable with that first, because I like to set a reasonably good lap with a default, because I know that'll give me quite a bit of confidence. Once I put on the setup, I know I'm automatically going to gain quite a bit of time. The car's going to feel even easier to drive. It's just a win-win situation, so that's what I really like to do. And so going for this first sector, I haven't invalidated it so far. This is the corner I'm talking about. If you go slightly wide, it will invalidate you, but if you go miles wide, it will actually let you stay on. So I wasn't really particularly looking to see what anyone else is doing at this stage, so I'm just trying to keep it as clean as possible. And the lap here is actually going very well. The only thing I've changed is just through the MFD on the bottom right of the screen. I just changed my brake bias a little bit more towards the rear, just a little bit more rotation when I'm going through the corners, and usually just lower the diff a little bit, because that just makes it just that tad easier on the traction. So going through here, really like this corner, long sweeping corners. I definitely know that my driving style is to go through high speed, change of direction corners. I've actually got Mexico today in a league race, so make sure you tune into that at 8 PM for TSRL. Should be an interesting one. Mexico, I haven't done that too often, or I don't think I ever done it on this game as I'm doing this video the night before. So coming across the line, it's a 1 minute 29.6, and that's only a second off the world record with no setup at all. So I was really happy with that. That was extremely promising going into the next stage, as I always do when I'm trying to build a good setup or just get used to a track. These are the kind of stages I do, and as I said, these videos are not purely for entertainment, but they help me get better. But as always, just giving you a raw perspective of what it really looks like for someone to try to set a very good time in a time trial kind of scenario, because the leaderboard can be quite deceiving. You see someone doing an insane, amazing time, but you do not know the journey they have done to get there, and that's exactly what I'm trying to showcase there. Sometimes I might do it pretty quickly, quite often times where I don't do it at all, and yeah, this is really what this is about here. So putting on the setup now, putting on my own setup first, that's typically what I like to do, because I know what really suits me as a driving style, because in other videos, as I said as well, just because you download someone else's setup does not mean it is going to suit you whatsoever, and that's the perfect example of what I was talking about. If you go slightly out wide, it will give you invalidation, but if you go a good car length or more, it doesn't give you anything. So a little bit of an inconsistency there, and it can give you quite a lot of time going to straight, because you really do need that momentum. Deciding not to go off the track for now and here, and I really struggle through these corners. I say that chicane is probably my worst corner on the track, which unfortunately is probably one of the most important ones, because you've got another straight, a flat out section going for this right-hander going into here. If you have a bad run off there, you're going to lose a good 10th or 2 tenths going into here. Really enjoyed this one, but this here, I enjoy this corner, but it's very, very difficult. If you just kiss that inside curb, it will just spin you round completely, so you have to get the line pretty much perfect, and go through here is really getting on the edge, the limit of the rear of the car really wants to just slide away from me completely. You need to be super smooth for there, but have to be committed. If you're not committed, you're not going to do a good time. And it's a 29.2, so bit surprised actually at this stage. I was expecting it to be quite a bit quicker than that. I was expecting to get a 28 pretty quickly, considering I did a 29.6 with a default setup. Usually default setup's about 8 tenths or so, normally a good easy half a second. So, and this is a reasonably long lap as well. Doing that this time, not going off the track, and this is definitely a better run this time around. So yeah, a little bit surprised in that first up. I thought it'd be quite a comfortable high 28, but you know, we've got to keep going. Just because it doesn't happen in the first 10-15 minutes, as I said before, you just need to keep that persistence, and it's just, you really do need to be patient, because I can promise you 9 times out of 10 to get a top 10 time in a time trial, it doesn't happen within the first 3 or 5 laps, or even the first 10 laps or anything like that. You actually have to be very persistent and very patient. Going into here, missing the apex ever so slightly, but we are quite a bit up now, and definitely some time to make up into this last sector. And this time, going 3rd gear, just missing that curb on the inside, just to get that extra rotation with the lower gear, and going through here, really committed through here, but the rear end is always wanted to step out. Sometimes 3rd gear, but 4th gear if you can, going a little bit deep into this last corner. It's very easy to lock up into that last corner, one of the hardest corners on the calendar, and that is a 29.2. Again, apologies if I can't read the screen properly, because it is in a very low resolution when I'm watching it on my side before uploading it, but yeah, you need to make slowly but surely steady progress. And as I've said many times as well, once you hit a lap time you felt you couldn't achieve, you'll quickly find that you keep hitting it pretty consistently. But now again, really needing to nail the limits of the track first beforehand. But even if you invalidate it, my number one advice is just to keep on going, to get that rhythm down. Once you get that rhythm down, you'll find it so much easier to start setting good times. And now I decided to go around the outside to see if I could get a little bit more time, which I do on the entry actually. And let's see if I can make it on the exit. You can see I almost made the 10th going through that first corner. So always trying slightly different things, because I know that's probably what the leaders are actually going to be doing, and decide to actually put on his setup just to see what it is. And he's running quite a bit more downforce than me, so I felt pretty good in the twisty sections, but still wasn't making up a lot of time. So I was expecting, again, like I said, to get high 28, but again, encountering the limits of the track. So having to run a little bit more downforce than I thought, and just trying to keep up my momentum on the straights, because the straights are quite long around here. So starting this up again, just trying to learn previously what I did, was normally pretty good for these first couple of corners, and this was pretty much perfect. You don't want to hit that curb too much there, and you can see almost a tenth up alone coming out the first two corners. This one half on the curb on the inside. Really need to hook your car. That was not enough on the left hand side. You really need to hook your left wheel on that little groove through there, but not a good sequence of corners. And if you mess up the line through here, you will just ruin the complete rhythm for the rest of the corners. And I have to say that was the case for quite a while. I was really struggling to get a pretty good lap on the board because we're still over 6 tenths away, and you can see the rear end of the car. If you turn too much, it just wants to get away from you. But you can see there's plenty of time to make up in this lap. We lost quite a bit of time in that last sector, but still managed to improve to a 29.1. So once you finally hit that, you start to remember where you've lost time in the previous lap, and that's why I stress how important it is to just keep on going as many laps as you can, and that is definitely better. And this time I hook it on the middle of the track. If you can see that groove in the curb, you really need to aim for that, and this is much cleaner straight away, getting a much better exit through here, going on the curve here, completely flat out for the left-hander, and just fractionally up. But again, I knew I could gain quite a lot of time in this last sector, so going out wide, using the curb, have to be really aggressive going into here now, turning nice and early, clipping the inside of this curb and accelerating completely in a straight line. And we have just gained so much time so quickly. And as I said in my Australia video, you may feel sometimes you're doing laps where you just can't feel where you can go any quicker, but if you just got those millimeters of difference in your turning in and just your throttle application and your braking application, you can gain so much time because it just sets you up perfectly for the rest of the corners. And you can see again, just getting a better line, gaining hand over fist through here. And I lost time on the last lap. Let's see what I can do this time, but I actually invalidated it, so that's not good. But you can see almost a tenth up. With still a bad exit, we've almost still matched the lap itself. So, you know, still making slow progress, but again, still not hitting a 28 when it's a 28.6 is what I'm aiming for in this session. So I did want to be hitting that pretty quickly, going in deep this time. So that was not a perfect corner at all, but we're still up slightly going through here. So we know there's still plenty more time going through here. Not great through here. Definitely hooking it around this time. You can see we've gone green through there, so that was a perfect application for that corner. Want to be accelerating almost in a straight line and not getting a terrible exit, but definitely could have got a better one. Still fractionally just left, well, a tenth of a second up, about 100th of a second up. Going to using all the track, have to be really aggressive, really have to take some risk going to. It's very easy to get an invalidation through the left-right part of this, accelerating in a straight line, and we've gained a tenth. Look how much time we have gained. It's a crazy amount of time, almost 2 tenths. And again, just those small details, just that slight change in just the steering angle and the throttle application has just gained me so much time. Tighter this time on the right hander, earlier on the throttle, going sweeping out wide, and then slowly drift back down to the middle. And let's see what I can get coming off this corner. And you see, once you hit that, then the next lap I do it, you'll find that you start to hit that every single lap. Let's see if I lock up going into this last corner, doing it pretty nicely this time, getting on the DRS zone. And let's see what time this is. This is the first 28, and it's a 28.8, almost a 7. So that is finally the barrier I was looking for, and much tighter into this turn 1. And you'll just find now, as I said, once you hit that time that you were really struggling to get, you'll quickly find yourself being able to match that lap after lap, when, you know, 10 minutes ago I couldn't even get in the 28s, and now you'll be able to see it's a pretty regular occurrence, because I know what a 28 actually feels like. I know what's required to do that lap time, and I know where I can gain more time throughout the lap itself. And despite being down, still attacking this, because I felt in this last sector, particularly through here, that I could still gain quite a bit of time. So you can see, look how much exit we've got. We lost a little bit of time during the middle of the corner, but I know I can definitely get a better exit onto straight, and we're just going to carry this through into the last sector, because I felt probably the left-hander, so this right-hander was pretty good last time, not going too out wide, going as early as you can on the throttle, making up a little bit of time. But going through here, I knew I could make up some time, so being aggressive, trying not to hit the inside there, and you can see gained about almost half a tenth through here, being really aggressive. See, going green straight. Look how much speed we've just gained going through that corner. Let's see what we can do coming off this one. And we're not going to beat this time, but again, just giving you just have to give yourself that confidence. And it's another 28, a 28.9, despite losing all that time in that last sector. And going back to this, I feel it possibly is a myth in this game that you actually start to accumulate a little bit of tyre wear if you don't restart the session. So I do that every 5 to 10 laps or so, and look at this, look how much time we've just gained. When we did that 28.8, it wasn't very good for that sequence of corners, and we're a tenth up going through here. So this is looking more like a world record kind of pace. And going through this corner, I really enjoy coming off this one. I tend to describe it as a slingshot corner. We go slow in, fast out, and we have just been released onto the straight. I believe I've actually changed my setup ever so slightly to just a little bit quicker in the straight line, so it's going to be a little bit more stable at the corners, but that means you can see not able to carry as much cornering speed. But if I get a good exit, although I'm red in the delta, you'll quickly be able to see that actually is going green because I'm a little bit more slippery in the straight line. And let's see if I can carry this in to the last sectors of turning in just about the 50 meter board, not going too wide, early as you can in 4th gear, going up into 6th gear, going nice and wide and then slowly drift back down. But this corner is just so difficult to get right. You can just lose a ton of time if you just do not get your rotation correct. And yeah, you can see now just through that little bit of lack of downforce, we are not as quick through this last sector, but gaining on the exit, gaining quite a bit of time on that exit as well. And that is another 28.8 as well. So you can start to see the trend that once we hit that, we are able to just hit it lap after lap, and now we are finally getting into somewhat of a rhythm. And I knew I could do this. I knew it was in me. I just needed to just pull it all together. I don't know what limits were people on doing that part of the track. I wasn't really interested in that. I was interested in just doing the best I can. You can see now almost a tenth up going through here with the straight line speed. I knew I just had to be slightly more aggressive going in to this left-hander. So going out wide, braking just after the 100 meter board, but not carrying too much speed, going back into red in the delta, and we get an invalidation. Frustrating, but just through that first sector, almost being a tenth up going into that middle chicane, I knew it was possible. I just really needed to just start hooking up now. And this setup here has got a lot of rotation in it, but I felt the car was just over rotating going through the corners itself. The rear end really wanted to step out, so I've just upped the anti-roll bar ever so slightly. And yeah, that's pretty much all the changes I've done for this one. But going into this first corner, not a perfect one this time, but still going green on the exit, so you can see what the potential really is. And going into here now, nailing this right-hander and then not going quite enough on the left, which means it's making myself very tight for the right, going out wide. And you can see that wasn't an invalidation, so it's very inconsistent, and it's a little bit off-putting because you just don't know where the limit actually is. But nailing this first corner, but we actually go out wide. We were over a tenth up. You can see how much time we've just gained through that. If only that was actually valid. But as I always say, I want to continue this lap because I want to see what the potential is. I assume if I did that clean, which I believe I can, of what the lap time really be. And you can see coming onto the straight, we're about just under a tenth. I think about to be a tenth up going through here. And I knew in this corner, this is really my Achilles heel. This is my weakness. I really need to be more aggressive, deciding not to go out wide this time because I wasn't really a fan of that. But going through that, I can see by the delta, I quickly realised that it is really necessary to go out wide, but you can get caught out by the track limits as well. Although I don't like to do that, I knew it was necessary to try and get this time on the board. You can see really quite a bit up now, so just trying to nail it into it, staying green the whole time, but making it tight on the exit. And although it's a little bit soppy, we are still green somehow. Somehow we are still green. So going completely flat out into here, looking at that 50 meter board, just before we turn in, just hitting it there, stay nice and tight, not all the way to the white line, just about missing it, but getting a nice run going through here. And now this is crucial, this is the crucial corner, and the rear end is just wanted to step out, and you can see just fighting the car all the time, but we're just going to throw it into this corner. We've got nothing to lose now, and you can see, look how much time we're gaining on the Delta itself. Let's see what we can do coming off this last corner. We actually got a little bit green going into there, and just over a tenth down, another 28. So doing the 28s previously was very, very difficult for me, but now it's becoming pretty easy to do it. A 28.9 at worst lap itself, and with another invalidation lap. So it's approaching the 60-minute mark. As I said, for these videos, ideally don't really want to be going over 60 minutes or anything, but this one here, although going slightly red, we could just get a really nice exit come off it and coming across the line. It's a 28.7, so we are just over a tenth away, about a tenth and a half away from this world record. You can see it's almost a 5, but I felt I could do it. The guy in second and fifth place actually had assists on it, so we are technically third on the leaderboard. And I don't know what track limits the guys are doing in the lead or anything at all, but although I can see his goals, I think I'm actually still quicker than him in sector 1. And we do another 28.7, a very low 7 this time. So now, starting this one, this is not quite the fastest lap I did, but it's a very, very nice lap itself. So going green straight away in this Delta, going into turn 1, braking or just turning in just before when the curb starts for the second part of it, and not getting a great exit. It was good on the entry, but quite a poor exit. 100-meter board just after that swing returning, got that right hand perfect, and the left. This was pretty much absolutely perfect. First gear, just getting the extra rotation, just about staying on the track and getting a good exit. You can see about just under a tenth coming up through here. So this is on track to get the world record itself. But this is the Achilles heel, as I said before. Just going into this chicane, it is so hard to get it right. There's only one line you can really do, and that was, I'd say, a good 9 out of 10 effort through there. And coming off this corner, look how much time. We're about a tenth and a half up, and if we maintain this towards the end, this would be the world record. This would be a 0.5, a very high 0.5. And I knew there was still some time to gain in this last sector. So turning in at the right point, not going super wide, overturning the car ever so slightly, but we are on a very, very good course to try and beat this. Not an insane exit, and you can see, look at the time. If you just don't get that line right, you just lose that time. So I really wanted to throw it into here, try not to lock up into last sector, which we do ever so slightly, just missing the apex just fractionally, about half a tenth up, and that was a 0.6. And after how much I was up, I really thought that was the lap. That was the lap I was going to do it, and you know, we are less than a tenth away from achieving our goal. But now this is a very, very nice lap in itself. Getting on the DRS, we're just going to throw everything at this now. At this moment when I was doing this, I thought this is probably going to be the last one I'm going to do itself. So braking just what we did before, pretty much nailing that, pretty much nailing the right hand as well. And you can see gaining quite a bit of time on the exit. Really enjoyed this sequence of corners, really throwing it in here and hooking it up almost perfectly for the left-hander, going slightly out wide, but actually gives me a better exit onto here. Short shifting to fourth gear just to minimise the wheel spin, and look at the speed and the amount we're actually up. And looking back at last lap as well, we made that mistake going into the long left-hander. So if I could just keep this advantage going to there, I really felt, but just a bit too cautious into there, far too cautious, but trying to get a good exit, and we're just under what we did on the last lap. But I kept on thinking of that left-hander in the last sector. If I could just get a good run off there and get a good run through here, I knew it was game on. But we go slightly out wide, and you can see we're losing a lot of time on the Delta here. So just all or nothing through this corner, third gear, and that was a very, very nice exit, and that's how I should have done it on the previous lap. So throwing everything into this penultimate corner now, going slightly green. I actually missed the apex last lap, and I do exactly the same again, but still somehow getting a slightly better exit, coming across the line. It's a 28.65. 1:58. And yes, that was enough for me. And that wasn't quite the world record itself, but these videos, as I said, this is just giving you a raw perspective of really what to expect. And although we didn't achieve the goal, I was still very happy that I believe I can do it on a perfect lap itself. My first video in this series, I still didn't achieve the world record in itself, but I thought that was a very good example. Here's my SERP I actually used. And yeah, thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really hope you enjoyed that one. Just giving you a genuine perspective of what to expect when trying to achieve something like this. Thank you so much, and I will catch you for the next video very soon. Peace.